Many of you are probably wondering right now, where are we going to get the money in the new model of the economy to pay everyone an unconditional basic income of $10,000? Before we answer this question, let's understand what money actually is. We use money as a medium of exchange to facilitate the purchase of goods and services. It doesn't matter whether it's made of metal, paper, or it's just numbers on the screen. For centuries, gold and silver have been used as money. But as time passed, people came up with the idea of depositing their gold in a bank and getting a receipt stating that the bank owed them that amount of gold. These receipts, or banknotes, were used as money. This system was called the gold standard. But after the 1970s, the gold standard was abandoned altogether. Governments around the world decided that money would no longer be backed by gold. And now money is not backed by anything. Once the value of money was determined by gold, but now it is backed only by our trust. Money is simply an agreement.
Anyway, in a world where you have to pay for everything, we depend on money. And people spend most of their lives trying to make money. And for money, we are willing to do what we are told. Whoever has the money has the power. More money, more power. In the consumer formative society, money is the key instrument of power. And this instrument has a master. So, who is the master of money today? In today's financial system, money is created by the central banks of countries, although these banks do not always belong to countries. In the United States, for example, the central bank is the Federal Reserve. But did you know that the Fed is owned by private bankers? But more interesting, over 90% of the money is created digitally by the private banking sector. So most of the money in the world is private. It is owned by someone. It does not belong to the government. It is private property. And there are trillions of dollars in private hands at the moment. And that's the root of the problem. Money belongs to a small group of people, not society. And no matter how we try to earn it, money always goes back to its owners.
But here's the good news. Economics is not an exact science. There is not a single law in economics like the law of gravity in physics. In economics, there are no axioms or postulates. Economics is simply an arrangement between people, and that means that we can change it. We're used to thinking that money belongs to someone else. It is public, international, or private. But in the creative society, the money will belong to society itself. As we said earlier, there will be a single world bank that will be owned and controlled by society. The function of this bank will be to create and redistribute money for the needs of society. A new single unified monetary unit will also be created. With its introduction, other currencies will cease to exist and all savings and income will be exchanged for them. Private banks will no longer be able to create money, as there will be no more private banks. We will decide by ourselves, as a society, how much money we need to create to provide each person with an unconditional basic income, quality housing, development of medicine and education, and improvement of our lives. We can create as many trillions as we need, and they will be all ours, and they can get kept on our common account if we don't need them. The key point is that it's very important to understand that this money will not be subject to inflation. because in the economy of the creative society, prices are fixed all over the world and cannot be raised. Prices will no longer depend on the amount of money in circulation, and the value of money will be maintained. And we must understand that keeping money in circulation is a temporary necessity during the transition to the creative society. It's also crucial to understand that a creative economy is a harmonious global economic system. The economic principles we've just discussed can work only together, everywhere around the world. Only one or some of the creative economic principles will not work independently of each other.
And during this transitional period, we will be able to rebuild our economy, develop and make available to everyone new technologies in energy, science, healthcare, ecology, food, and other products. This will enable us to move on to the next stage, the creative economy. This is a completely different world, a world of new, unlimited, accessible to everyone, and free energy. It is a world of new technologies for the production of good and food through the control of elementary particles. This world will no longer need money. In the creative society, each of us will be rich, confident in the future, and free to live the life each of us wants.